Hi there. Welcome to the dungeon. Today, on a very special and unusually timed episode of Roll20 Presents the Pathfinder Playtest, it's just me. It's just this guy. It's the game master, and it's this dungeon, and we're gonna prep the dungeon because if you remember, we worked on all the wilderness encounters, but we didn't get it all finished. We found the tokens that we needed, and we set up all the maps, and I created a big pile of quicksand. But we didn't get around to finishing the tomb itself, the titular tomb that lies within the Pale Mountain. So what we're going to do today is we're going to perform what I would consider to be probably one of my weirdly one of my favorite activities when it comes to dungeon prep. And there's just something it feels to me like maybe coloring or doing like crafts or something is for other people. I find it remarkably meditative to just sit down and draw dynamic lighting lines. I love it. I love it so much, and I'm so happy to do it. So we're gonna start there. I think I'm gonna draw out all the dynamic lighting, and then I'm gonna find tokens. And we're just gonna make sure that we're ready for tomorrow's episode in case the players get this far. Now, you never know, right? You never know, because sometimes you do a bunch of prep and the players just rip through it. They're like, Manticore? I don't think so. We're just going to run for it. Yeah, interesting combat or social encounter? No, I think we're just going to get out of here. We just ignore the NPC. Or, I don't know, if you're most of my players, we shoot him with our crossbows. But other times, you spend an hour and a half talking about quicksand. And I've been thinking about, and I think the last episode, the previous episode to this, which would have been episode 3, I believe, the previous episode to this stream of the Pathfinder playtest is one that I will remember probably forever as one of those episodes, one of those sessions where, and this is something that I think is important about playing a bunch of different role-playing games, right? Every game has its own tenor. It has its own kind of vibe and flavor. And it was just so much fun just sitting and talking about quicksand with my players. It's a surreal experience when you're like, oh wait, but we're doing a show and we're playing a role-playing game, and like, I guess technically we should be like doing encounters and like rolling dice and playing our characters, but we were just really interested in sitting down and talking about like, how does quicksand work? How does that get represented in play? And I think that's what happens when you have players who are mechanically minded, but who are interested in the fiction. I think having Kat on the show especially has kind of leaned us into a place where we can talk about, mechanisms and kind of examine the game in a different way. And for me, that's what the playtest has always been about, right? Is we're here to test out the game. And sometimes you end up in these situations where you're just like chatting about quicksand, which I thought was really fun. So, that's what happens sometimes. Now, if we take a quick look at the adventure, we did area B2, right? This is where the adventure kind of sits right now. So we've tracked out B1 and B2. There is this river encounter of B3. There's the manticore of B4. And then what we're going to be prepping is this. So it may not be that next episode we get all the way to the tomb, because there's some RP stuff that might happen. There's some sneaking or 2 fights maybe. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But those are done, and I just wanted to sit down and make sure that I had it ready for whenever we get there. So the Tomb of Tular Seft itself consists of an external location, which we set up here. This is where all these adorable gnolls are, right? These little guys. And then we, once we are able to enter the tomb, we head over to the built-in map, right? This is the official map of the tomb from the adventure. So I just want to get the map sorted out, make sure it's got tokens, and then we're good to go. As with the rest of this campaign, I'm going to be drawing my tokens predominantly from the work of Yuikami, who is a marketplace token creator. And map creator, I learned recently. You could do a whole campaign just using Yuikami tokens. They're the cutest tokens in Roll20, in my opinion. If you've got a cuter token, I would love to see it. But I just thought we would go all in on the like silly, cute tokens for this campaign. Especially especially Dave's character Plunderfist. I cannot get over. Every time I look at this, I just I can't help it. I can't help it. It's just so good. So this is Dave's character. But all the characters, I'm using the magical girl tokens for everyone just because I can. So we're gonna try to find some cute tokens, and we're gonna populate the tomb. But before we do that, before we populate the tomb, let's begin with dynamic lighting. Now, before I do dynamic lighting, let me grab a character with dark vision or night vision or low light vision or infrared vision or ultra vision or whatever, so that I can use them as a beacon. Let's give Dave. There we go. All right. So now we have some light radius that we can play with, and I'm doing the fog of war, the advanced fog of war as well, so that once they pass through an area, they'll be able to see the rest. So actually, here, let me reset it. I think there's a. Here we go. Hide. Reset fog. Okay, because I actually don't want to use a player token, because then if I do, when Dave's character comes over, he'll see everything. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go to the fog menu here, and I'm going to go reset the fog. So this will completely refog. That'll refog the area. That's a useful tool if you want to confuse a character about where they are. If you've got a dungeon with like rotating stuff or teleportation rooms, resetting the fog is a really good way to prevent the players from being like, oh, okay, well, I scrolled all the way over to the left and I see that I know where we are in the dungeon, right? That's a good way to keep them in the dark, literally and metaphorically, because sometimes you can have that situation where you're like, oh, okay, well, I can triangulate where we are as a result. And as the menu pointed out, sometimes if you have a computer whose CPU isn't the strongest, you're running on a laptop, you might want to refog some of the areas if you're using a particularly large dungeon map. If you have a level that is bigger than usual and it's taking a lot of time to render, or you find that your computer's having a hard time with it, you can refog some of the areas, which will tell Roll20 not to render them. So that'll help speed things up. So let's see what we got to do here. Let's put in some dynamic lighting. I'm gonna grab like a random goblin. Let's go find a goblin, or really any other cute monster. Yeah, I find that generally the problem that folks will have, I think I'm spelling Yukami's name right. Generally the problem that folks will have with slowdown in the in Roll20 is with dynamic lighting, because it can be a little bit intensive, or if you have a ton of tokens on the map, or if your map is very large. You'll get a warning if you're building out your canvas too big. Roll20 will say like, you're on your own after this size of map. You'll notice if you watch my prep or you watch me GM, sometimes my performance stuff in Roll20 can come from doing searches in the marketplace. That shouldn't be a problem for you because Roll20 is not pulling up every purchased item, but every time I search for something, it's rechecking all of my items, and I have access to a lot of stuff in here. So if you notice any slowdown, that's just what it is. It's purely on my end. All right, who's going to be our guide through this? Here, let's do this bugbear. Let's use this bugbear as our little guide. So here he is, Johnny the shirtless bugbear. Look at his little knobby knees. And we're gonna give him light. Let's give him like 60 feet of vision. Here we go. And now we'll start drawing our lines. Now I'm not sure about C2. I'm gonna have to check. I don't know if these are pillars or if they're stones, but I'll look in the description. Yeah, that's a great point, CM Henny. The hardware acceleration in your browser, whether it's on or off, toggling that can sometimes help with with slowdown if that's something you're experiencing. All right, so I'm gonna go with hot pink for my lines, and we're just gonna start at the edge, and we're just gonna Bob Ross this thing. We're just gonna draw some happy little dynamic lighting, and I like to draw the dynamic lighting on the inside of the wall, because if you draw it too close to the edge of the wall, the players will not be able to see the wall. They'll just see darkness. Which, you know, if that's what you want, that's cool. But for the players, it's pretty disorienting, and it's like you can't quite tell if you're seeing the whole picture or not. You're just seeing where the light stops suddenly. So I find it useful to just draw a little ways in, just to give players that certainty of knowing that they are indeed looking at a wall. All right, so yeah, if we're gonna Bob Ross this dungeon, I would need to add a happy little tree, and I bet you Ukami's got me covered. Now I could have just drawn like a single straight line, right? I could just go like that, but I sort of like giving it a little texture, because even though it's straight on there, and the players will see the straightness of the wall, I like my dungeons to be a little bit more textured. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll go around, and I'm just clicking little micro lines as I go. And this is really just about kind of how patient and how zoomed in you want to get. If I were designing a space station, or if I were doing dynamic lighting on like a Rivendell type deal, I probably wouldn't just kind of click at it the way I am. I would be much more precise. But since this is a pretty janky old tomb, we don't have to worry too much about it. We can just kind of get near the edge here and clunk along, draw on this pink line. Now you'll find whatever color you want in the system to draw your dynamic lighting lines. I like hot pink. I use pink for walls. I use like orange for doors. I use green for obstacles as well. And I think for me, the reason I use those is because you don't tend to find hot pink in the dungeon. Right? It's a color that will stand out pretty nicely no matter what your dungeon environment looks like. Obviously choose the color for you that matches or contrasts with whatever environment you're working on. A big spiky in there here. I'm gonna zoom in a little so I can get a better handle on this. A very narrow wall. And then we're going to give this circle some wide arc. Here we go. Yeah, and I don't find generally that adding these extra points, like obviously the system prefers straighter lines, but it's not so bad. I haven't experienced like too much performance slowdown when I create these kind of bumpy walls. So now I've drawn one wall, right, from one end of the map to the other. Let's see, did I make that one? Okay, good. And now I can check. We can go to our objects and tokens, and when you select a token, if you go like that, and that should, there we go. So it's blocking off the walls. So we're seeing through half the dungeon. There's our room. And yeah, exactly. If you find that for you, you're having some rendering slowdown or whatever, if you want to try to optimize a little bit, yeah, you can absolutely put in more like straight lines. I don't generally find that I have that problem, and the folks that I play with haven't reported anything like that, so I stick to that. But something to keep in mind for your particular dungeon experience. Okay, all right, so that's one wall. Let's go and do the other side. All right, we'll go loop around the other side, and we'll finish off this dynamic lighting. So let's see, there's my line. Another thing you can do too is keep in mind that as with all of the drawing tools, the dynamic lighting lines can be made bigger or smaller depending on how much detail you need. So like I'm doing regular lines because that's the default. But if I want, I can switch. Now, this I would just do as a single regular line. But if I wanted to, I could use a much thinner line and create that. So if you don't have as much space, you can do that alternately. If you just want to do the whole wall, you can do a single large line or extra large line. And there's your wall, right? So that's useful. One thing that you might not know, if you click on it, you can also change the size of the line after you've drawn it. So that can be a useful way to make adjustments. Just because you've chosen to draw the line with one thickness doesn't mean you're stuck with that for the rest of your drawing. And that's true of writing as well. If you're using the text editor, you can paste you can write your text in, and then if you want, you can change the sort of font size as you go, which is what I usually do. There we go. Got arc going for whatever the heck's going on in this room. This room looks like some classic dungeon crawl BS. All right, there's our circle. I'm gonna come in a little wider there. Let's see if I can get a bit closer. There we go. That's better. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it could be a puzzle, some kind of rotating floor thing. Yeah, elemental puzzle maybe. Because it's, yeah, fire, earth, water, air. Yeah. They say the classics never go out of style. All right. A little bumpy wall down here. And then we're going to hook around. So yeah, create your own kind of lexicon of colors. I'm going to use orange for doors, and I'm going to use green for obstacles that I need to remove, right? Like if it's something that you could push out of the way or something that's like a temporary obstacle to sight, I'll use green. And then that way, when you look at your map, you're going to be able to see color coded where all the lighting is, because dynamic lighting is, as you imagine, a dynamic. So the things might change. Now the only thing I find a bit tricky in terms of dynamic lighting is dungeons in which the characters can or might be interested in using spells like shatter to destroy walls. So if you have a dungeon where there is a pair of hallways, or there's a wall that's only, you know, a few feet thick that the players might want to Kool-Aid man their way through, if you're drawing your walls the way I am, you can't just delete a section. So what you might want to do, instead of drawing single lines like I am, one big line that goes all the way around, you might want to break them into sections that are removable. You're going to build destructible terrain in case the PCs want to go through a thing. And often an adventure will indicate to you like areas of the wall that might be destroyable or whatever, and then you can build around from there. An eraser tool that would be able to delete the lines would be neat, but the way that this is structured is that the dynamic lighting is creating boundaries between like inside and outside spaces. And if you were able to erase a hole, there might not be a wall on the other side of the wall. You know what I mean? Like if you would be inside a big cavern of negative space, right? Like if I erased a hole here, this is all going to be open instead of being able to dig a tunnel into the solid rock. So yeah, you want to think about that when you're reading your descriptions of your adventure, right? And if an adventure indicates that might be possible, and then also knowing the abilities of your players. If you have a character with a burrowing skill, any of the dungeon exterior or interior walls that might be susceptible to such burrowing is definitely worth considering when you're drawing out your map. Do we want to be prepared for the players to do the unexpected? The answer is almost always yes. Players tend to do whatever they think is the right thing, and sometimes as a GM, you don't get the opportunity to plan for that. But if you look at their abilities, look at the way they've solved problems in the past. If you have a player who loves breaking things, get ready for breakable walls. You know, it's the true balance in a role-playing game between prep and flexibility, right? Like you want to prepare for as much as you can, especially in an environment like this, right? A dungeon situation. You know, you need to have all of this stuff in place so that you can take most advantage of the features. But you want to be able to be flexible in case the PCs do something different. And I often find that one of the leading causes of GM kind of railroading, forcing people to engage with the content we've created is that doing this prep it's a lot of work, right? And so sometimes we can feel like, but I built this dungeon. Why don't you go? Why don't you do the thing? We can feel frustrated, but you can always reuse dungeons. Players don't have to know. I made a big temple for the end of the first arc of Court of Swords way back when, and spoiler warning, they never made it. So I'm going to reuse that temple, I think, in the future. How much prep do I do for Dragon Heist? Very little, actually. Dragon Heist is structured really differently, and so I don't actually have to do much prep for it. Also, with Dragon Heist, all that work's done for me, right? All the maps are drawn. All that stuff is finito. So, okay, so we have our outside walls. Let's double check them. So I'm going to reset the fog, and we will take our little bugbear for a walk. Come along, Johnny. All right. Looking good. Okay, a little tunnel into the back area there. Got my fog of war filling in. Very nice. This just looks like a big empty room because I haven't drawn the inner walls yet. Okay, I don't have any broken stuff. Don't have any leaks. Things seem to be rendering okay. Yeah, the players will be able to see the numbers because this is a flat map. This isn't on the GM layer. This S is going to be a problem. I'm going to need to draw around that. So we're just going to have to try to hide it from the players. But that's okay. That's fine. Right? That's how this map is. It's just a single graphic, right? Yeah, it is. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, so, we're going to have to just make sure that they don't see that, but we'll find a way around it. Okay. All right. So my inner walls are good. Let's turn that fog back on. So reset the fog. This is just for my own testing purposes. You wouldn't have to normally reset the fog, but Yeah, right. Photoshop is your friend. Yeah, I mean, I could theoretically like healing tool this in Photoshop and bring it, but this is a Roll20 GM prep, not make Adam open Photoshop. We'll go over it. We'll make this wall like that. Yeah, we'll make it shaped a little bit different. Yeah, you can also take a screenshot of the cave wall. Yeah, that's a good call, and then import it. Right, put it over top. That's certainly something that I could do. Yeah, that's a great point, Vojin. Yeah. All right. Yeah, right. Make a cut of the floor using the snip tool. Yep. Yep. Smart tricks. It's good stuff. All right, let's draw in these inner walls. So get my polygon tool. All right, here we go. So zoom in a little, and we'll start here. Yeah, I prefer the slightly more textured approach, even though it's, you know, a lot more time. Does anybody have, and this is probably a no, but does anybody have any experience drawing dynamic lighting with a stylus? Does anybody use a stylus with Roll20? A tablet with their Roll20? Because I would be curious to see how that. Oh yeah, you do, MJ. That's cool. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, here, watch. I gotta go back because we gotta do the secret door's got to be able to be removed. It's just like I was saying. So we'll end there. It works great. Oh, that's great. That's so good. Cool. Nice. Yeah. All right. Cool. We got that guy going on. All right there. And then up. And down. And we're gonna. There we go. And then for the door, because it's not really a door, I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna make a little. Hold on, a little bumpy kind of like protrusion. But I got to try to make it look as smooth as possible. So we're going to kind of curve it up this way and then across and then curve back down. All right, here we go. Let's try it out. Oops, just drawing these backwards. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Let's move it forward slightly. Yeah, I mean, I could draw it. I could just draw right over top if I wanted. But I'm okay with it being like a little bit lumpy. We'll take a look at it on the other level. It's going to be a pretty subtle effect, I think, anyhow. Yeah, the players might notice they can't see the wall as easily there, but that's pretty good, I think. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we got our shadows there. Okay. Yeah, good. All right. I need to draw another door. Oops. Bye. And I'm gonna change the dynamic lighting settings not to update on drop because I actually I like the move your token around so you can see. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then we gotta do the interior of the secret room as well. All right. So let's do that. I think I still have the orange selected. Yep, let's do that door while we're in here. I'm gonna do two separate doors if the players need to, you know, open one and not the other. Or they want to open it just like a crack. Okay, and then let's go back over and we'll do our secret room. In basic wall pink. There we go. They're going to see a floating 6 in this room, but that's just how it goes. There. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, one thing that I think would be a neat feature is the ability to rotate lines, so that I could like swing the door open. But that's, I mean, I could just draw a new door and then delete the original. But yeah, something that has occurred to me as well. Okay, cool. Do we have any obvious glaring missing stuff? Get in there, dude. I think we're good. I think we have all the dynamic lighting drawn. I'm gonna check on C2, and we will see what those are. Are they boulders? Are they columns? What's the deal, C2? So C2 is the Chamber of Sunken Stones. This large cavern seems to have been dedicated to the ideals of water and earth. A set of rough natural stairs leads down from the main passage to a natural chamber. Holes piercing the walls of the cave allow rivulets of water to filter into this room, flooding the floor. Several flat-top stones project above the water. Okay, so you can jump on them and step on them and stuff. Okay. Good. Cthulhu, the playtest is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 11. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 24 and a half hours. Okay, so that's our dynamic lighting. That's all set up. Let's make sure I got tokens where I need them. So C1 is the back door. The mountain ledge narrows significantly before coming to an end below an overhanging shelf of rock, but directly to the east, a door of solid black stone has been set into the mountainside. At one point, the door might have been difficult to notice, but recent damage, as if inflicted by poorly crafted tools, has made the mysterious doorway quite apparent. The door is not locked, but lack of convenient handle makes opening it difficult. A hidden latch concealed in the rocks can be found with a perception check. Detect magic reveals magic in the vicinity of the lock, but the magic comes from a trap. If the latch is activated, so is the trap. Smashing the door open triggers it as well. If the trap is deactivated, the latch opens the door with ease. Without the latch, the door can be smashed through. It is an Eldritch Latch rune. An Eldritch Latch rune, and yeah, I should draw in a door. We should add that door there. So now we know there's like a specific door. Okay, so the door is there. And the trap is just an electric latch trap. So let's just, I'm going to put on the GM layer just to remind me there's a trap here. Let's just look for, well, not run, look for runes. Or magic circles or whatever. Yeah, see, rune trap, runes. I love a good magic circle. I love a good glyph. Look at these. Look at these glyphs. These are some hot glyphs. Teleportation circles. Glowing demon runes. It's hot stuff. Battle runes. These are good little tokens. You can just use these for like kind of anything. That's neat. I like those. Battle runes. Yeah, look at all this good stuff. Okay, let me find a... Tiles. Okay, this is purely for me, so... Ooh, pretty. Okay, let's use one of these. These are 60 auras, AoEs, and alchemy sigils. I need a blue one for Suzappy. Oh, look at them all. Prismatic sheet. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. That's an awesome looking glyph. These are great. This is like some Doctor Strange stuff, right? Like if you're casting spells and creating auras. Yeah, I'm gonna grab let's do let's just do one of these ice looking ones here. This one's cool. I know it says ice rune, but I don't care. I'm just gonna place it right here. Hold Alt, and I'm gonna put it on the GM layer. So the players don't see it, but it will remind me that this door is trapped. Okay, great. So the electric latch rune. Let's see what it does. An electric latch. I bet you it electrocutes you. Electric latch rune. Electrocution. If you grasp the door directly or touch it with a tool, it deals 3d12 electricity damage to the triggering creature. Reflex save for half. So, there you go. It shocks you if you touch it. Surprising. Yeah, 3d12 is kind of a lot. Let's do a random. Survey says... I mean, remember, the characters are level 4, so... It would only really be dangerous to Parcel. Great. Okay. So, that's that. Then we go into the Chamber of Sunken Stones. The water and stones don't present much of a challenge, apart from being preferred terrain for the room's elementals. The water is 15 foot deep, but calm, so you do have to swim in it. The water is siphoned in and recycled from the elemental plane of water. The room will never flood. PCs must succeed in an athletics check to climb the rocky outcroppings from the water. Tular Seft bound 2 elemental guardians, one from each of the planes the chamber is associated with. The earth elemental is concealed as a pile of rubble in the southernmost of the protruding rocks. Okay, so I need an earth elemental. Yuikami, let's see what you got for earth elementals. Wonder if I can search for both of these terms. No, probably not. Okay, so we'll hand pick them. Yeah, there's a bit of a frustrating thing that can happen with like rune traps and stuff where you're like, as a player, I search for traps. Roll. Okay, you don't find any traps. I grab the door. Well, you get electrocuted. There was a trap there. Do you roll when you're GMing, do you roll find traps in secret? Or do you let the players know what they rolled? There are very, very few times where I feel like rolling without letting the players know the result is actually valid. I hate it, but I like doing it it makes me feel better in these settings because you can see my rolls. So I can't cheat. But at the table, it's so, yeah, I would rather just be like, yeah, you got a 16 and you find nothing. The problem is that if they roll a 1 and they find nothing, they know that there's still a chance for the trap to be there. Anyway, let's find an adorable element. These elementals are so good. Okay, earth elemental. Oh, look at that. There's lesser and greater ones. Look. Little lumpy guy. Big lumpy guy. Oh, they're so good. Ice. Magma. Hey, look, it's galore. Oh my god, it's so good. All right, let's use the greater one, I think. And I think I'm going to use the brown one because that's more the color of the stone. Okay, and he does not need to be on the dynamic lighting layer. Let's put him on the GM layer because he's hidden. Okay, and I'll figure out the details of this boy in a second. And then we need a water elemental, right? There's a lesser water elemental and a minor earth elemental. Okay, so elemental water. Oh my god, the white one's like a badger. Or the ice one's a badger. That's so good. All right. Elemental water. Here we go. A lesser water elemental. I'll give him a little aura. Just to help him stand out. There we go. Okay. So these little guys, let's get their stats. It is a lesser water elemental. which is, let's see here, lesser. Here we go. Okay, it's large, so we got to make this guy bigger. God, it's so cute. Okay, it has 18 armor class. Oh, what? How have we been? How have we been doing this? Let's look at the tokens. Hit points, armor class, movement, ham. And yes, yeah, things that emit a glow or light, I definitely add them to the room. Yeah, we'll look at that when we get to the magma room. All right, so ham for the tokens. So hit points for a lesser water elemental appears to be, let's see, lesser water. Oh, it's a lesser, right? Not a least. Yeah. Okay. So it's actually AC 20. So 75 hit points, 20 armor class, movement rate of 65 feet or 20 feet. Okay, 65 or 20, depending on. There we go. And then let's see what abilities does it have. It has immunity to sleep, crits, paralysis, poison, precision, and stun. Fire resistance 5. It has a vortex reaction. So a creature inside the elemental's vortex takes a move action, creates a current of water, sucking the creature 15 feet towards the elemental and losing the move action. Can do melee damage that pushes. And then it can drench. It has a water vortex of 30 feet. So water in the area is difficult terrain for swimming creatures that do not have the water trait. So let's put a second aura on him that the players can't see of 30 feet. Wow. Okay. All right. So let's make sure that second aura. Okay. So the aura's perfect. All right. So there's our little water elemental. Now he's kind of hard to see right now because he's not on the token layer and because it's dark in here. What is this guy's ability to see? Dark vision. Okay. All right. So we'll go. Has sight. Here he is. Okay. So he can see everything in the cave and he's got dark vision and he's a water elemental. Okay. Where is this water elemental at the beginning of the encounter? The water elemental is dispersed in the water to the north. So he's just up here. Okay. Cool. So put him back on the GM layer, and while we're on the GM layer, let's do our little earth elemental. So this guy is a minor earth elemental. So probably a similar... It looks like it goes minor, lesser, major, greater. So the earth elemental is slightly less powerful. It's a smaller version. So an earth elemental at the bottom of the chain... I guess mephits are the smallest, yeah. So he's only medium. He's a medium boy. And he's hidden on this rock. He's got 40 hit points. He's got an armor class of 19 or 15 for touch. I guess I can put that in. Easier to touch a stone. And then his movement, I think he can burrow probably. His movement is, and this is all coming from the Pathfinder playtest bestiary. Let's see. Here we go. 2020. Yep. Okay. And then he's got crumble. If he takes damage from a hostile source while he's on the rock, he crumbles into the ground, burrowing down 5 feet. And he has earth glide. He can burrow through stone and dirt at its full burrow speed, leaving no tunnels or signs. Oh, so he's going to like move around from rock to rock under the water and then pop up and fight people. And when he gets hit, he can burrow down into the walls and like move around. Oh, that's cute. That's kind of fun. I like that. Yeah, a little bit of a whack-a-mole situation. Yeah, okay. He doesn't have a vortex or an aura. He just has a melee attack that's a fist. Neat. This should be a fun encounter. So if you're in the water, you get vortexed. And if you're on one of the platforms, you get whack-a-mole. I like it. Okay, great. So that's C2. When an elemental is defeated, its body condenses into an elemental gem with a rune of elemental power inscribed on it that can be used in area C4. Oh, it's one of those dungeons. Oh, okay. Got it. So you got to defeat these guys. You get the elemental stone, and then we'll figure out what those are for in C4. Okay. All right. Room C4 is the room that when you walk into it, it explodes, I think, is the deal. Okay. So C3, the Chamber of the Burning Sky. Let's see. A set of stairs tiled in red and white leads upward and around a bend into this chamber. The stairs emerge onto a small landing before an almost spherical room. I don't know if I would call that almost spherical. That's a rough ovoid at best. Almost spherical. Come on now. This chamber appears to be a tribute to air and fire with a high domed ceiling and a bowl-shaped floor. Small lava flows trickle from the walls and collect in a pool below, from which a column of smoke pours up to roil against the ceiling above. As with the water, it's all elemental. The dome ceiling is 25 feet above the ledge. With a similar shape, the floor is fairly smooth and hard to traverse. Lava slowly flows down via a few narrow streams. If you come within 5 feet of a lava stream, you take 1d4 fire damage, and 1d4 at the beginning of every turn where you stand there. Coming into contact with a lava stream is 5d6 damage, as does touching one or standing in one. It's inhabited by 2 elementals. They're in their natural form and attack anyone who enters. The fire elemental is a burning horse with fiery spines on its back. Wait, I think I already have a Ponyta in here somewhere. Maybe I deleted it. I used to have a Ponyta icon. Like, here you go. I'm not going to be able to find one that specific, a fire horse. Well, maybe Yuikami has like a cool fire horse, but I feel like there's got to be some. Yeah, I could always use a nightmare too. There was one. Yeah, all right, we'll take a look. Yeah, nightmare is a great choice here too. Let's find out if we have one. So this is a fire elemental by default, right? A little snake. Lightning. Some aberrations. Undead. What is a nightmare? Is it? It's a demon, right? I wonder if I can go a Yuikami Nightmare and pull something up. No. Or a fiend or whatever. Lemures, Spinagons, Cornigons. There's just so many good choices. I love them. Yeah, worst case scenario, I'll just use that super cute elemental that I saw before. These are all undead. Forest monsters. Oh, look, it's Strix. Cute. Look at all these assets, like Halloween assets. Oh, they're all from like a witch set. Ah! Ah! Oh, oh my god. I'm dying. Ah! Fuck. Look at it. A giant celestial crab. Oh, these are too good. God damn. All right. So this is more Maho Shoujo stuff. Here's all Yukami's like traps. Like, you could make a full-on dungeon with like this stuff. Man, Yukami, your stuff is so good. Okay, let's just use that. I'll use that regular one. I could have sworn there was a nightmare, but I must have missed it. That's okay. A fiendish seahorse. Yeah. Cool undead. Love them. All right. So we got fire elemental. Let me see here. Yeah, like there's like seahorses and stuff, but I don't think there's like regular. Yeah, crow, crab, cat, bat. Yeah, these are all just familiars. And a horse is not a familiar. Okay, so we got fire elemental, and then we also have an air elemental, and the air elemental is made of mist and smoke. So let's grab one of those. I wonder if there's like... Well, let's take a look. Let's look at what the air elementals look like. Oh, yeah, perfect. Look at that. That's cool. All right. So it's a lesser fire and a minor air. So lesser fire, minor air. A minor air elemental is a medium air elemental creature. Okay. It's got... Let's see here. What does it got for stats? It's got 32 hit points, 20 armor class, and a movement rate of probably like a lot. Hey, yeah, 80 feet fly, and it has swiftness. So swiftness, what does swiftness do? I will look that up. Let's see. High winds. The air. Oh, it has an aura. Air in the aura is difficult terrain for flying creatures without the air trait. So let's bust its aura up to 30 feet. All right. So the air is like whipping around it. It disperses. If you hit it, it disappears and can't be attacked or targeted, doesn't take up space, and deactivates its aura. At the end of the turn, it reforms anywhere within 15 feet. Oh, neat. So you can't multi... Oh my god, it's like Monk's Bane, right? You hit it once, it disappears, and you can't continue your pummeling blow. Okay, all right. And then as a melee attack... Oh, swiftness. It doesn't trigger reactions with its movement. And it has a gust attack with a reach of 10 feet. So let's do... We'll put that in. There you go. Flying around, doing gusts, getting hit. Okay. And then the fire elemental is a lesser fire elemental, so a bit bigger and better. A lesser fire elemental is a large creature. Let's make him emit light. Actually, I won't do him because he's going to be hidden in the fire. We'll do another token that I'll put on the map layer. So fire in the center there. Okay, so greater fire elemental. Intense heat is a fire aura of 10 feet. There we go. Anyone that starts their turn in that aura, DC 21 fortitude save or take 46 fire damage. Wow. When he dies, he explodes, dealing 66 fire damage. When he scores a crit, his body surges with blue flame, increasing the damage of his intense heat to 4d10. But if he's doused with water, he takes damage equal to its water weakness value. If he starts his turn within water, it's the same. He's got a plus 19 to hit. Oh, these are greater fire elementals. Okay, no, hold on. The lesser fire elemental has explosion, but no aura. Okay, I was gonna say that's a big aura. So let's cut that. So this guy has just the explosion ability and then the fire tendrils. So let's see. He's got an AC of 20 and 79 hit points. And he's got a movement of... Let's see, can he fly? How does he get around? 50 feet. Okay, so he just kind of walks. Just trots around. All right, so 50 feet of movement. Doesn't have an aura of fire. Water weakness. Tendril of fire with a range of 10 feet. There you go. So you can lash out with fire tendrils and get you. So he's reclining in the fire when they arrive. And the wind guy's just flying around the top of the room. Okay. Good. And same thing, when they die, you get the elemental gems. And you can use them to open the inner chamber. Great. Good. Okay, let's light this room. We'll get a fire and we'll put it in there. There you go. Fire glow. And Actually, I need to put that on the map layer. But let's give off some light first. Boop. Okay, there we go. Now the room is illuminated. Cool. So when the characters come in, they'll be able to see that there is a light glowing from the center of this lava. Cool. All right. And then he never touched that layer ever again. If it has sight, doesn't that illuminate it from across the map? No, it just means that if it's a person, then it has sight. It can see. I just set that because that way I can test its own radius, but I could just as easily do the same with any other creature. So if you see, if I do this, what I'm seeing here is that this token doesn't have sight. It can't actually see, but I have Fog of War from everything that I have seen as a player. Now, if I give this guy sight, and I give it a radius of sight there, it should be able to see in the room. Most of my players will have torches or dark vision by the time they get here, but let me see. Is it not illuminate from the map layer? Let me see. Let's see if this changes it. It might also not be visible because he's on the GM layer. Let's try that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Now we can see the room. Let's put that back on the map layer. Perfect. Okay, there you go. So he's got sight, but no vision. So like he doesn't emit his own light. So he can see what's in the room, but he can't see out of it. Okay, perfect. Got it. Yeah, the other PCs won't see it from another part of the map. It just means that it's able to see, and it was just a way for me to test that. Let's move this guy back onto the GM layer. All right, so there's our 4 elementals. Let us see what is in room C4. I don't think there's anything in here. I think this is the puzzle room. So the Chamber of Planar Alignment has like a big long description of it. A straight hallway separates an ornate stone door on the western wall from a circular room to the east. The door has no latch or lock and depicts a sagacious man in relief. He wears a robe and holds a book and a quill across his chest. Golden accents inset in the stone give him a sense of majesty, but his eyes are gone, gouged out of the stone and filled in with tarry black paint. The circular room has a low ceiling and 4 concentric circles on the floor around a dais in the center. Each of these circles features a glowing object or phenomenon within its ring. The outermost ring emits an orange flame from a small spout. The next ring has a protrusion, a translucent purple stone that glows faintly. The third ring is inset with a small circular basin shining with green light from below the water. The innermost ring includes a small vent that pours forth vapor, shot through with white light. The dais inside the 4th ring supports a complex device of brass atop a metal pole, covered in dials and complex runes. Right, okay. A glowing object or phenomenon within its ring. So we could just do a little... Let's grab that glow. And we'll make it small. And we'll put it... here, and let's just make it shed like a... Oops. Let's make it shed just like a tiny bit of light. There we go. And I can actually make it go start of dim. So they all just shed dim light. I keep clicking the map is why that's doing that. There we go. Isn't that cool? It's little glowy objects as you walk into the room. So if you're walking in and it was dark, you would see these 4 little pools of light in an otherwise darkened space. Which is pretty cool. All right. There we go. So we got some glowies. And let's see. Chamber of Planar Alignment. The door to the east leads into the labyrinth, area C7, while the sealed door opens into area C5. The device on the dais in the center of the room operates the locking mechanism. Cannot be opened any other way, short of long-term manual labor or magically disintegrate. Complex dials built into the floor corresponding to the elemental planes. The alignment of each dial can be determined by the emblem that adorns it. And close examine of each dial's decoration reveals the presence of dozens of strange runes. The magical traditions and equations can be deciphered with a DC 25 Arcana, Nature, Occultism, or Religion check. Placing an elemental gem of the same theme in the emblem causes several runes to pulse and glow while others fade. Each emblem that you place reduces the difficulty of the check. If you put all of them in, it just shows you what buttons to push. You can sabotage it by removing the dead end equations. Once it's deciphered, you select the correct components by touching them in the correct order. I like that this isn't a puzzle for the players. This is a puzzle for the characters. You notice that? It's not like, here's a handout with 20 options. Cross these off as they press the thing. So two different ways. If you watched Tomb of Annihilation, Tomb is all give them the handout and tell them to slot them themselves, whereas this is make the check. The check gets easier the more MacGuffins you've picked up. That's cool. Yeah. Interesting choice. Yeah. Okay, and then when you do that, let's see. To those approaching Area C4 from the labyrinth side, the outer wall appears as a spiraling pattern of hieroglyphs that must be solved as a puzzle. Secret door is very well hidden. Which secret door? Let me see. From this side, there is no direct entrance to the east, to the tomb's labyrinth. To those approaching from C4, the outer wall of C4 appears as a spiraling pattern of hieroglyphs. Oh, so there's actually like a wall here. Okay, well, let's see. This is why you got to read the text. There's like an illusory wall here. Outer wall appears as a spiraling pattern. Each failed attempt to be solved. Okay, so that's a thing you can describe. Each failed attempt is a blast of energy, but a success causes a spiral of hieroglyphs to fade and a 10-foot wide section of wall between the labyrinth and Area C4 to crumble into dust. For the purposes of this playtest, it's best the PCs don't discover this alternate entrance to the tomb, since the traps and guardians of the labyrinth on the other side are beyond the playtest scope or interest. Okay, so this just isn't there. You can't, there's a wall here, and it will blast you if you try to fuck with it. The reason it's here is because the bad guys show up. They pull an Indiana Jones, and the bad guys show up after the players have opened the door. All right, great. So that's it. So once they open the door to C5, using the puzzle, it will it'll open it up. Let's see here. Each corresponding action takes one turn. The double doors to C5 grind open. Perfect. Okay. So C5 is called Mabar's Prison. Glowing hieroglyphs shimmer on the walls of this oddly shaped room. Now and then one of the hieroglyphs shimmers and changes or vanishes altogether, while new glyphs manifest elsewhere where none were previously. Slowly rotating circular diagrams are interspersed with these runes. Along the walls lean the rigid, immobile shapes of several mummified human bodies, the mechanism by which the dead remain upright, not immediately apparent. Portions of the room appear unfinished, with building materials still cluttering the corners. Another body floats limply near the ceiling of the far room, wearing a metal mask over its face. It doesn't look mummified like the others, and its long hair dangles limply. Damn. Okay. So a character who can read ancient Osiriani automatically understands the vast majority represent numbers. It appears to be counting down. Oh, this is the countdown. Tular Seft envisioned this chamber as a shrine to the dominion of the Black, but he perished before he could finish his work of art. The living figure hanging near the ceiling is Tular Seft's betrayed friend Mabar. When the PCs first enter, the chamber guardians are immediately noticeable. Not all the mummified figures are truly dead. 4 of them are undead mummies that lurch to dusty life as soon as they spot intruders. 4 mummy guards. Okay. All right, mummy. What have you got? I mean, this is classic role-playing game dungeon crawling stuff, right? You see 4 corpses. All right, well, you just let me know when they wake up and try to kill me. Just go ahead and let me know, because I'm waiting for it. I spelled Uikami wrong. That's why that didn't search. All right, mummy guards. These are those guys that protect your mom, I think that's their job. All right, get ready for mummy rot, everybody. Goblinoids, ratfolk, lizardmen, elementals, aberrations, undead. Oh, that was the horse. Not quite a necromancer. Or not quite a nightmare. More like a necro horse. All right. Mummies. We got Zambos, Vampers. This guy. Skeletors. Shadows. We got a cool Lich. We got the Grim Reaper. Some ghouls. It's terrifying Dullahan with no head. Some cool Bodaks. Yeah, I think these are in alphabetical order, so I don't think there are mummies. Yukami, do you have any other undeads? I don't think that you do. Huh, okay. So we don't have any mummies, huh? Well, let's find something that's mummy-esque. Aw. It's a dead baby zombie. Terrifying. So I could probably use like ghouls, maybe. Because the only thing that those guys are cool. Let's use. Oh, that was a monk. Undead zombie monk. That's funny. I mean, they've got wrappings. Let's use these. These guys are good. These will be a good stand-in. All right, so I need 4 of them. So I'll do 1 token and then I'll copy it. So a mummy guard has 16 AC, 40 hit points. Let's move them to the GM layer. All right, 40 hit points, 16 armor class, and a movement rate of 20 feet. They have lesser mummy rot. Both a curse and a disease can't be healed until the curse is counteracted. -1 conditional penalty to charisma checks and DCs. So you just rot and get less and less fun to talk to and look at. Cool. Gross. All right. So I need 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's our mummies. And I just about said Babar. Mabar is suspended in the air by telekinetic magic that holds the non-undead mummies upright. The mask he wears has kept him in suspended animation for thousands of years. Freeing him is a simple task. If you take off his mask, he comes out of his suspended animation and he falters, dropping him to the floor. The mask removes its preservative powers and becomes non-magical. Once freed, the Mabar gasps for breath. To the Johnny, no time has passed, but the irreparable proof of the chamber has aged makes him realize how long he's been in stasis. Mabar has been destined for many months of difficult emotional ordeals as he acclimatizes to his new life, but for now his thoughts haven't quite caught up to reality. He can answer the PC's questions. If they wish to speak to him, they have to speak either ancient Osiriani or Orin to hold a conversation. If they can, likely questions are summarized below. So he can answer who he is. He's like, I guess he's a genie, or he's like a genasi. Mabar, a male Johnny. What is a Johnny? Johnny 5. Let's see. Johnny, here he is. Johnny. Oh, he's just a genie. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, just in case they decide to fight Babar, we'll put him in. All right. So I think we're gonna use generic humans because he looks human. He doesn't have like, he doesn't look like a genie. So let's find a human wizard that we can use. Someone with cool robes or something. I like the wizard with the hat over his face. That's nice. Let's see. Maybe the monk. Monk or the wizard. I like that the monk is the skeleton monk from down below, too. There's a lot of good consistency in these tokens. Oh, that's good. Let's use this. This guy's good. All right. So this is Mabar. He's flying over here. Mabar has 19 armor class, 55 hit points, and a movement rate of 20 or 15. He can also fly. Okay. So he can fly, but he falls when he lands. I didn't see any Jinn. I looked under elementals, but these are all like elementals. There's no like genies or. I guess we could use another Maho Shoujo character, but they're all kind of. I kind of used them all already. All right. So there's Mabar. If you take off the mask, he's freed. He can help you out. He can tell you stuff. And then let's see, the Chamber of Contemplation. That's the C6 there. A tiny bleak chamber with unfinished stone walls. One wall is lined with shelves filled with musty leather-bound books. In the center of the room, an ancient mummified body sits at a stone-topped table posed as if in meditation or study, and iron bars hold the preserved corpse in place, with cuffs holding its moldering hands on either side of a massive gemstone, within which glowing hieroglyphs shift and change. A brace across the front of the body holds the face forward, staring at the far wall with empty eye sockets. On that wall, a large ornate mirror frame is filled with a sheet of absolute darkness, black beyond night. Damn, that is grim. He's got the countdown clock, and he's staring into darkness. And in this room, there is a trap. There is a trap called Glimpse of the Dark Tapestry. So, if you glimpse into the Dark Tapestry, you have to make a will save. If you fail, you become frightened and don't automatically recover for 24 hours. If you crit fail, you're confused for 1d6 rounds, and then you're frightened. Yeah, you stare into the void, and it messes with you. Gives you a minor mind quake. Neat. There's some treasure in the room, +2 scimitar. They can give you endure elements, lesser staff of fire, scroll of gust of wind, scroll of stone skin. Once the frame's link to the tapestry is expended, it becomes a non-magical empty mirror frame. The most important feature is the countdown clock you've been sent to retrieve. For now, the clock's target number remains a mystery, but assuming the PC's handed over, Lady Vord can figure it out. It's aimed for the year 4718, created by Ramlock near the end of his time on Golarion, and is a level 20 magic item. Cool. Okay. All right. So once they get that, once they retrieve it from the vault there, they come back out. There's a little bit of detail about the labyrinth. The Tomb of Tular Seft, there's a labyrinth entrance to the west. This would be the main entrance, because remember we talked about how they came in the back. This would be the main entrance that you would come in, and this is where the Night Heralds might arrive. So the Night Heralds they take 9 days to get here. So currently the 9-day counter is at 5, right? So there's 4 days left. So it's possible that they could get in here, loot the tomb, and get out before the Night Heralds show up. However, if they complete their task with times to spare, they can take things slow and face them after setting up defenses, resting, etc. If they try to retreat and avoid the Night Heralds, they can go out the way they came, they could avoid them, and the Night Heralds will probably chase them. The Night Heralds will try to chase them down if they don't have a head start of at least a day. If the player characters run out of time, they find them having already ransacked C4 and 5. The Night Herald mercenaries are several veterans led by an anti-paladin named Haina. Damn, Haina the anti-paladin, Libar the scout, Motek the cleric of Rovagug, and Randwick the vile necromancer. So if I need them, I should put together this party of Libar, Motek, Randwick, and Haina the anti-paladin. Haina the anti-paladin is totally going to be, let's give her like an evil Maho Shoujo character. Let's use the tiefling for her. So she's the leader of these bad guys. And then I need a scout, a cleric, and a necromancer. Should be easy enough. A scout. Let's do this guy. A scout. Oh, here's our necromancer. A necromancer and a cleric. What do you got? So we could use one of these guys as the necromancer and that is the cleric. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make... That'll be our necromancer. Do they sing Barbershop at the beginning thing? Yeah. Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. Yeah, all right. So, Hena the anti-paladin. So this is... Okay, and she has 20 armor class, 78 hit points. And she has a movement rate of 25, I think, because she's just like a regular type moving person. 20, 25, is that how it goes? I can never find the move when I want it because it's never where I think it is. It's 15 feet. She's slow. All right, she has some divine powers. She can touch of corruption. She has a terrifying strike, and she has a +1 great axe. Jesus, Hannah. Okay, so that's her. Lybar is a scout. Mercenary scout. Okay, here we go. Mercenary scout. So this guy is... What did I say his name is? Lybar the Scout? I love when adventuring parties fight with adventuring parties. It's like one of my favorite tropes in RPGs. I love it. Okay, so he's got 18 AC, 45 hit points. And perfect aim. Okay, so he's like the sneaky guy that shoots the arrows at them. All right, he's got a speed of 30 feet. And then we have Motek the Cleric. Motek the Cleric. And Motek's got... Let's see, what's your deal, Motek? Soundburst, Spiritual Weapon, Bane, Burning Hands, Daze, Detect Magic, No Direction, and Light. He can also use Destructive Cry. I'm going to have to look up what all that stuff does before they get to this point. But he's got 41... hit points, 18 armor class, and a 20 speed. And then lastly, our vile necromancer, Randwick. Randwick, the vile necromancer. Gotta use this whole title. And Randwick is a 17 AC, 32 hit points, with a movement of 25. He's got a sickle, and he can cast Acid Arrow, False Life, which he's already got cast. Invisibility, Fear, Grease, Grim Tendrils, Magic Missile, Chill Touch, Detect Magic Light, Mage Hand, and Ray of Frost. He's also got Call of the Grave. He's wearing Bracers of Armor and has a Lesser Healing Potion, a Scroll of Web, and an Expert Sickle, which is cool. These guys are great. They're great to loot, right? So I'll keep them back here behind this wall until we figure out what's happened in here. And either they will encounter them in the dungeon, or they'll encounter them outside. The timing is left to you. Assuming the arrival of the tomb takes place at some point when the PCs are in the complex, feel free to time their attack to be dramatic, perhaps with the cultists arriving just as the PCs are leaving. You see, Dr. Jones, there is nothing that I cannot take away from you. So yeah, that's the plan for them. It's totally just an Indiana Jones ending. All right. So help me when we run this, when I play this tomorrow, help me keep track of time, because there's a chance they can get in, deal with Mabar, get the stone, and get out before Angry Lady and the Thug Squad show up. Because they're out here. They don't know about the back entrance. They're dicking around. So they might be able to get in and get out and escape. That would be cool. Otherwise, we got a big extreme difficulty showdown with Hena, Lybar, Motek, and Randwick. And that's it. That's the adventure. That'll clear us out of in Pale Mountain's shadow. And then the next subsection of the playtest after that, the next time we're going to do our prep, we'll be preparing for a fair at Somberfell Hall. So that'll be the next adventure and the next time that I do prep for the Pathfinder playtest. So thanks for coming, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock Pacific if you want to watch live. Otherwise, all the other prep, all the other episodes, including the great quicksand debate, can be found down below. Go to that MS Roll20 on YouTube or check out the VODs right here on our Twitch channel. That's it for me for today. I am prepped as heck. I will see you later. Bye, everybody.